Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm James.
And welcome to the Cornwall Property Podcast, where every week we bring you the latest news, hot topics and guidance around the Cornwall property market.
Stay tuned to be informed, inspired and to have any of your property related questions answered by trusted local property professionals.
Welcome back. I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And this is the Cornwall Property Podcast. This is episode 29. It's our market update episode. So this is the episode where we will give you a couple of news articles that have caught our eyes over the last week. And we also will bring you our two property picks of the week. So I have a commercial property that's currently on the market and empty that I think will be a great opportunity to bring some property to the market for some residential housing.
Nice.
And James has got a residential property as well. So we'll share those with you too. So for those our regular listeners, you know our motivation, our ambition is to help as much as we possibly can, just educate, inform, inspire you guys to get involved with property where you possibly can, hopefully in Cornwall. And we have got an awful crisis going on at the minute. There's over 21,500 people currently on the emergency housing register for Cornwall, and there's just not enough housing for these people. So we want to hopefully inspire you guys to get involved with property to help bring some old, unencumbered, dilapidated commercial properties or unencumbered already residential properties to the market to help these people as best we possibly can. So, James, how can people get in touch with us?
They can go very easily to our website, cornwallpropertypodcast.com, scroll to the bottom of the front page there, and they can send us a message, or as many as you do, as I always say, go onto our Facebook. Don't forget to like us, and send us a message on there. We are here waiting for your questions, and hey, we're in this all together, trying to sort out this crisis, so why wouldn't we help? And that's what the podcast is all about, helping these people find homes in the local community.
For sure. So just cracking on with the articles now, that one thing that I am really ambitious and passionate about is the quality of living, as is James. So it's all really good having properties, but if they're a really poor, awful condition, unsafe condition, an unhealthy condition, it does no one any favours whatsoever. And who would want to live there? And you shouldn't be expecting. The way I see it is, if I wouldn't live there, I should not be letting other people live there. That's a kind of level that I'd like to think that we work at, James. Now, with that in mind, energy efficiency is a key one, and it's something that is being drummed loudly now, as loud as ever been drummed, really. The energy efficiency drum, that is. So energy efficiency, what do we mean by this? It's simply trying to reduce energy bills. So how do we reduce energy bills? If you think about it, is when you heat your home, and if your home isn't very thermally efficient, the heat is just going to be sapped through windows, doors, walls, roofs. You're going to lose the heat really quickly. And the issue is, if you lose heat really quickly, what have you got to do? You've got to put the heating back on. Again, do the process again. But because it's continually losing that heat throughout the property so quickly, you're just spending more and more money just heating this air that is just going all the time. So the idea and the theory is that if we can better insulate our properties on the first instance, so make the walls, the roofs, the floors more thermally efficient, it slows down that heat loss. Well, if it slows down the heat loss, it means we're not using the heating as much as we were previously. If we're not using it as much as we were previously, it's not going to be costing us as much. So another way of looking at it is, okay, once you've insulated to the best of your possible ability, we then need to try and manipulate and engineer our heating to a really efficient way. So it might be that the electric heaters that you've got are really not thermally efficient. They're really inefficient. So you've got to try and find ways. Is there an electric heater that we can find that is more efficient? What would that mean? Well, it's not using as much power to get the heat out, or it's not heating at silly times of the day like the old traditional night storage heaters would have been. So these are just things to just start thinking about. So the idea is that if we're not using as much heating and as much energy, then it makes us far more energy efficient. Our bills will be decreased, and it makes our properties more valuable, and they're going to be looked after better as well, and they're going to be lasting far longer. They're not getting mouldy and damp and horrible. So there's just so many benefits to do it. What are the negatives? It costs quite a bit of money, and it can be quite intrusive, this sort of works. So the government are putting in lots of opportunities and grants and things for us to try and incentivize us and help us to do this work, because they want us to use less energy. They want us to decrease the bills, and they're trying to go zero carbon. They keep drumming.
Exactly, yeah.
It's going to be a long time until we get there, I'll put you that much. But yes, so this is basically generally where we're going. Now, there are a lot of articles, and I've referenced two today, that I don't want to bore you into sleep, but it's just really insightful, that I think it's so important that we try and think now logically, where can we improve our properties? And there's legislation in place now. If you're a landlord, your property needs to be up to a particular standard and level. by, I think it was 2025. So you need to try and get your properties up to a C by that time, EPC rating wise. And that's not easy. But if you start planning ahead now and start putting in place some of these opportunities and the grants that are on offer, it can really, really help. And it's in your interest as a landlord to do this. I really do feel. And also, if it's just your residential, it's in your interest to do this if you can, because it's going to lower your bills. And we all know how ridiculous the bills are getting now. So just I've got a couple of articles here. That's me kind of rabbling on and with how trying to just kind of paint the picture for you. But I've got two articles that I relate to here, and both articles, again, the links can be accessed on the show notes. But one article is from Letting Agent Today, and what they're saying is that they're trying to encourage landlords, letting agents generally are trying to encourage landlords to get better energy efficiency in their properties. So there's new boiler schemes available, and these come into effect at the start of June this year, so June 2022, and it's an opportunity for landlords to improve their properties and actually get some support in doing so. Now, but again, I've mentioned the benefits, but landlords across England and Wales, as well as owner-occupiers, may apply for grants of up to £5,000 off of the installation of all other sources of energy, such as air source heat pumps, biomass boilers, and it's up to £6,000 off of the cost of installation of ground source heat pumps. So these are available from now up until 2025. So these are the sort of things that are available to you. You've got to obviously meet certain criteria, but they are making them accessible. But what we can find from the last Green Deal that we kind of had an experience of in the last couple of years is the installers. There's not a lot of installers actually down here in the Cornwall area, Devon and Cornwall area. And as such, you need to get yourself booked in there and get on that kind of list as soon as you possibly can. So you won't physically get the cash. The idea is that the installers are all part of the grants. They're registered, so they'll come in, price it, and they'll say, well, look, this is the overall price. Once we deduct what you're available and eligible for in the grant, this is all you've got to pay.
Keeps things police then, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So the money is being spent on.
And what I quite like the idea of is actually these installers they don't just get given the money. They could be, you can't just have Bill and Ben just come in and start and Bob the Builder just rock up and I've got no accreditation. I've got Dan and James are coming to your house to install your boiler because I'm going to get £6,000 off the government if we do this, James. No, they are actually getting regulated as best as they possibly can. So they have to prove, they have to have photos, they have to prove the installation is done as per the manufacturer's guidance and stuff like that. So it appears to be done quite well. So the idea here, and what I'm just trying to share with you guys, that these grants are available. So hybrid heat pump systems, these are also available. So this is like a combination of a gas boiler and air source heat pump. So those sort of hybrid systems, they're not eligible, but the grants are available for air source heat pumps, biomass boilers, ground source heat pumps. This includes water source heat pumps and shared ground loops. So there's lots of opportunities there for you to get some cash to help. Now, another article that gives you a little bit more information on the types of different grants that are available, I've also got from Zoopla. So again, this link is in the show notes, but this one simply just says, look, there's free money available for you to make your home more energy efficient. Now, there's several home improvement schemes available currently. Now, you can use these to help reduce your energy bills, which I've mentioned. Now, energy companies are paying for the insulation, the glazing, new boilers as well, for people to claim these benefits under their new schemes, and they're trying to encourage people to do this. So there's boiler upgrade schemes. So they're offering owners, as I say, £5,000 towards the cost of buying and installing their new boilers or air source heat pumps or a biomass boiler. Grants are averaging generally around £10,000 you can get up to.
Wow, that's a lot.
And these are available for certain households that make the improvements. So, and this is all under the Green Homes Grant Local Authority Delivery Scheme. So it's all incentivised by government, council, etc. So just going to quickly reel off the headlines of the types of grants that are available. So you can get free loft and cavity wall insulation, you can get boiler upgrades, the free wall and loft cavity insulation, you can get nearly £600 a year saved if you do that. Boiler upgrades, you can get up to £5,000 support for there. The Green Homes Grant was a government scheme. Now, they give you vouchers of up to £5,000, and the money is covered up in like 2/3 of the cost generally of the improvements that you're doing on your home. So if someone in a household receives certain benefits, though, they could actually get 100% of the cost paid. So that's up to like £10,000 of the cost saved. So they're chucking some money out of this actually. And then there's a solar PV installation scheme as well. So having PV, so photovoltaics, I think I pronounced it right, but basically solar panels. So if you are having solar panels installed in your home, you can slash your energy bills to almost nothing, but installing panels is quite pricey. It's generally around like £6,000. So energy companies are actually trying to offer free solar installs on properties too. So homeowners can obviously make use of this. So again, there's lots out there. I won't bore you any more of this, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that these are the sorts of things that you could do to make your properties, one, more efficient, safer, healthier for your tenants or yourself if you're your own place, and also it's going to increase the value of them too. And I'm sure James will know if he hasn't. I'm sorry if you have, mate, but there's a lot of mortgage incentives now for greener properties. Are you touched on that today?
I'm not today,
Okay,
but I
yeah.
was going to make some comments. Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, I apologize. I've just rabbited on for a good amount of time because I've got a bit quite passionate about that. But yeah, I don't really know. I know your thoughts already, James. But if there's anything you want to add on that at all, then obviously
no. I think it's it's great there are these incentives there, and the government is coughing up money. We only looked at on episode 27 where we were talking about Rishi Sunak giving the average household towards the end of the year £400, £600 for the more vulnerable. But it's probably a really good time to be, not for the right reasons really, but it is a good time to be introducing this because people are probably more incentivized just because of the cost of living. They're like thinking, hang on a minute, energy bills have doubled, if not
soon to be
even more so. So people are like, look, I know this is for long-term gain, but my only worry with this is that although we're being incentivized with help, who has that type of money? People are struggling to live at the moment. We know that, especially in Cornwall. They just can't pay the bills. Who's got savings to even put this in, to put some money up? That's my only concern with it. But we can't have everything for free, but they are trying to incentivize and get people to do this. And I think where people look at they're going to have a warmer home, it's going to be worth more money. They're going to get better mortgage deals, and just the cost of living and inflation is so high at the moment. They're going to think long-term investment. Let's just get this done.
And also that the regulations are changing. So if your property does not meet these criteria of C's, so currently it's a D. It has to be a D to be. Is it a D or a D to be let out currently? I can't remember off the top of my head now. But as of 2025, I think it's December 2025. If it's not a C rating, you can't let your property out. So
they're gonna some interesting times with Cornwall property market, especially
sort of older properties
with the a granite property with no inner skin or it's
no gas as well.
No, it's going to be tricky, but we are trying to be greener and to have better quality of living. So it is going in the right direction, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. So okay, so I will have a look on my side of the fence. So I found an article here on mortgagestrategy.co.uk. My headline here was Landlords view growing buy-to-let sector as pension investments. This was done on the EPL survey. And the article went on to say that most landlords see their properties as pension investments, according to the latest English private landlord survey that was done throughout the whole of 2021. So all the results are sort of coming through now this first quarter. And it finds that 54% of landlords consider their properties a long-term investment to contribute to their pension, points out the report published by the Department of Levelling Up, Housing and Communities. This figure rises to 58% among buy-to-let owners, which is quite interesting as well there. The number of private rated homes in the country jumped by 45% between 2008-2009, so last recession really, and 2020 to 2021 to 4.4 million households. The private rented sector is now the second largest tenure in England, containing 19% of all households, compared to 14% back in 2008 and 2009. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but historically, lots of people have seen properties as a good, pension pot where hopefully in 25, 30, 40 years, the property would be completely paid off. Rents will have doubled by then and they've got a nice little earning scheme there. But not sure what your thoughts are on that. Well, I know.
Well, it's a no-brainer. We've been drumming it for year. Well, that's why we're in property, isn't it? We not necessarily a pension pot, but we do it for our living. It's our month pot. It's our living pot. It's what we do, and it's 100%. Property goes up in value. It's fact, and you hold it for long term, it's only going to go up in value. So if you've got money to park, 100%, I would always drum the putting it in property drum. So 100%. I'm not surprised with that at all. Not surprised at all.
Absolutely, and as we've been talking so much about energy prices, inflation, that type of stuff. If we you look at what you're getting from the government now as a pensioner for example, you're not working anymore, you've retired at 70 or whatever it is, 65, and you're getting that money from the government. Is that going to cut the mustard with the bills, with the way things are going at the moment?
I think it's an element of control as well for me. It's just
Definitely.
the fact that I've got the money. I know where the money is. I can access the money if I really needed to in terms of selling the property or whatever. So, yeah, it's the control side of things, and I know where it is. Pension, I don't trust I'm ever going to get one. If I'm entirely honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why property is a good vehicle for that. Not without its risks. Property does have its risks.
We are 20, 21, 22, aren't we? So
yeah, that's it. So yeah, we should be covered by it. But no, definitely, it's a long-term investment, long-term game, as we always say.
Sure.
So talking of renting, I found another interesting article. Actually on the BBC here with the headline, Cost of Living, Renters Search for Tenancies with Bills Included. I swear, Dan, we were only talking about this a few weeks ago, that this was going to become more popular because people just know one price. They know where they are, and then all they've got to do is there are other things like food, etc.
It's like fixing your bills, isn't it? It's fixing your price.
And they know where they are. I know a lot of people have a lot of anxiety at the moment that historically it's been like, oh, well, I know my electric bill is going to be somewhere between £60 and £80. It always falls between there. Depends if you've got a lovely hot tub or not. Maybe some of you have. But it's unknown. I don't know how much it's going to be by the end of the year. 200, 210. It's worrying that people are not benchmarking that with their salaries. Their salaries aren't going up at the same time. So it is quite a frightening time. So there's no wonder this is quite a popular thing. So the property website said inquiries for build to rent homes with bills included has risen, here we go, by 36% over the past year. Big numbers, but again, doesn't surprise me. Millions of people are facing rising domestic gas and electric bills as the cost of living soars. The prospect of further rises will have increased demand for all rent. Existing pressure on tenants' finances comes as the average monthly rent being advertised across Britain, excluding London, was a record £1,088 in the first 3 months of the year. That was an 11% annual increase, Rightmove said. I mean, that's quite big figures, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, big. Very big. And no surprise that what would I want to be doing?
Yeah.
Fix that price. Fix it. Let me know what I'm paying every month.
Absolutely. Just some final figures that I had on here. Nearly 2/3, 63% of landlords told Rightmove they have kept rent the same for their tenants over the past year. Well done you for helping. And then with the remaining 37% saying that they have increased their rent. But, that also might be, houses of multiple occupancy where you've got a house share. And, as the bills have gone up, as we've said in previous podcasts, where does the buck lie with the tenants? Because the bills are going up.
Yeah, and I've got HMOs as well, and I've got good tenants. I don't want to rock the boat. I know it's difficult for them. I can still pay the bills. It's obviously a lot tighter, but I vowed that I'm not going to increase the rents. If they move on, then at that point, that's my opportunity to then bring the rents in line where they need to be. But no, I truly believe with that. And I think that the tenants value that. And for as long as the bills don't keep going up and we can justify it, then I'd like to obviously help what we can. So I think, it's in your interest, isn't it, to keep good tenants. It works both ways.
Yep, absolutely. So now we come on to the part of the show where we look at some interesting properties. So Dan, you've got a commercial property for us, haven't you?
I have.
Tell us more.
For sure. So if you're on YouTube, you can view this as we're talking through it. If you're not and you're listening on an audio device, obviously you can access the links to these properties on the show notes. So my property is on 4th Street in St Austell. It's a commercial property over 3 floors, actually. So the ground floor is a typical shop, but above it's the kind of stereotypical, as you'd expect in these older commercial properties. It's all office space and storage space, but there's a lot of it here. So for £170,000 on with Mayweather and Groves in St Austell, you have got a great potential development opportunity here. So it is, again, it's a shut down shop on the ground floor. Again, you could update that and try and get a lease in there for something. There are smaller little retailers that are interested as well, but just test the market, speak to some local commercial agents if you like. And what I'd recommend then also is then just looking at the space you've got upstairs. So you've got 390 square meters. Wow. So to give you an idea, for regulation state, to get a 1-bedroom apartment, generally for minimum standard requirements, you need to be around 37 for a studio, 39 for a 1-bed apartment, square meters that is, sorry. So you kind of do the numbers. If you say that 390 square meters, take away maybe 20% for communal areas, or you've got to get stairways and lobbies in there. That leaves you then a workable floor coverage space that you could convert into a number of apartments. That's generally the sort of back of the fag packet maths that I would look at initially to see, well, you know what the numbers like. So yeah, if you're looking at the pictures here, it's just a massive warehouse. What I like about it is that there's not a lot to rip out, really. It's not like you've got loads of kind of solid walls everywhere. It's a big open space which allows you just to start getting creative. And there's also potentially a natural lobby area too. But you've got to remember all the windows are on the external walls, and you can see from the picture that if I'm looking at now, or if you flick onto image 16 of 25, you can see there's like a lobby area, but all the windows are within that lobby area. But if you've got bedrooms and things, they need to have natural light. So typically you're going to be wanting your main living rooms and your bedrooms off the external walls. So yeah, there's things you're going to be thinking about. Obviously, you're going to upgrade external walls, but in essence, there's a great opportunity there if someone was interested in. Again, why are we looking at this? It's an empty property in Cornwall that could help house and create quite a few homes.
Absolutely,
for the right price.
Being in the town centre there, I think it's quite generous that they've got 2 parking spaces out the rear. Quite rare, really, for high street properties like that. And it looks, can't quite gauge, but it looks like end of sort of terrace sort of gig there.
It's not far off the main road, to be fair, where the church is in St Austell.
Parking's probably around the back there, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Nice. So yeah, stores and it's also got rear access too, so you haven't got to walk around the front to get in, which is even better. So you could separate the shop at the front and then just have all upstairs as residential. But yeah, so that was my one, 170,000 on with Mayweather and Groves, and it has been on for it came on in the last couple of weeks, I believe.
Nice.
So, James, what have you got for us?
So, I have managed to find us quite nice. I don't know. I don't like to say too good to be true, but this seems like really good value to me. This is a first floor, 2-bedroom flat on Wayne House Corner in Bude. That's on that lovely long rolling countryside road towards Devon, but not quite across the border there. 120,000. It's on with Weber's. 2-bed, like I say. It's in need of refurbishment, but I would say by looking at the pictures, it's fairly light refurb. Really, nothing too drastic. Kitchen, bathroom, potentially flooring, depending how bad it is in there. It's in easy walk to village amenities. So it's in quite a nice, quiet little location. It says on here, excellent first-time buyer. Definitely at that price for sure. Or rental investment opportunity, currently vacant at the moment, but yeah, I think this is a really good buy here. The only thing I would say on it was added on the 27th of January this year, so it's been on quite a long time with our housing market on the rise and boom and a good deal. One thing I would check out, and I don't know what it is on this one, is the lease. How many years are remaining on that lease? Generally, you kind of want to be in triple figures on a lease, really. You don't want too lower numbers on there, but thoughts, Dan? Pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems. It's cheap, isn't it? Again, you don't know. It's well worth. These are the situations where it's well worth just picking the phone up and calling the agent and just saying, "What's the story? Tell me a little bit more." Like, maybe this was going through and it's just fallen out of bed, and they've just taken the sold subject to contract label off it. Perhaps, I don't know, but definitely worth just giving a call. I'm just on the actual brochure here on my side just to see if I can see what the lease terms are, but it doesn't seem to be very clear or obvious. So that's a good shout, James. Worth just asking the vendor. But again, this is on with Weber's Property Services in Bude. Give them a shout. 122 asking 1,000 asking price, and yeah, if you like blue walls, this is for you.
Absolutely. I just think that's really, really good value. And although we just talked about the lease, and that might well be that you have 30 years left on the lease, but don't be too deterred by that, because you can actually create new leases. Can be sort of, in the region 5 to 10,000, depending on, where you're doing it. Obviously, you have to get your right homework done and quotes, but on the price of it, you might be able to, it doesn't matter if you had to get a new lease, but check it out. I think that's a really good buy, personally.
Just simply factor the costs into the development. So,
absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, that's it from us today. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you got some value from the podcast. If you've got any questions, you're obviously more than welcome to get in touch with us. But James, how can people do that?
As always, go to our Facebook page. That's where most of you do go. But also, if you want to go to our website and have a look around, you go to cornwallpropertypodcast.com. Go onto the first page there and scroll down to the bottom where you can insert a message, and we will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible.
Definitely. Thank you ever so much for your time, guys. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to catching you again next week on the Cornwall Property Podcast. So goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Bye-bye now.